You're listening to Holding Hope, a podcast series from Growing Hope.
So hello and welcome to the Holding Hope podcast, unswerving and wide-reaching. So through this podcast we're focusing on the passage in Hebrews 10 verse 23 which says, "Let us hold unswervingly to the hope that we profess, for he who promised is faithful." We'd love to talk about holding hope in Jesus and newfound hope this morning. So it's a pleasure to welcome Nathan as a guest to the podcast today. So Nathan Dudley is a multi-award-winning entrepreneur, founder and CEO of Newfound Hope. These guys are launching Aerlos through Kickstarter, patent pending, play ready, healthy heel trainers that structurally support more grounded, stable heel first steps in children aged 3 to 10, empowering kids of all abilities to spring forward with newfound hope in their souls. And it has been great to meet Nathan, to work with him through Growing Hope, and to see all that is happening through this amazing journey. So can you tell us a bit about yourself, Nathan, and what hope means to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm Nathan, and it's lovely to be here. I'm super excited about this new podcast that Growing Hope are doing. And yeah, we're called Newfound Hope. So this is a very kind of synchronistic thing. Growing Hope with Newfound Hope is kind of what we're going with. And, I got the vision for Newfound Hope in 2020, where God gave me the name in prayer. And since then, I've been on this journey that has basically taken me through not knowing Jesus to knowing Jesus. And that's what I believe hope is the confident expectation of knowing God right now and in the future, him coming back and restoring all things. So I believe that hope is something that is tangible. It's not just something that is like airy-fairy and something that is kind of just out there and you can't attain it. I think there's something really rock solid about the hope that we have as Christians, and we stand on a secure foundation, the Word of God. It's really amazing to see what Growing Hope are doing with these families with kids with additional needs. And yeah, it's really providing real hope, a tangible sense of hope for these families. And I'm so proud that we're partnered with you guys, because I think there couldn't be any more perfect partnership than this.
Yeah, amazing. We're super excited too. And I think that's such a good description of that hope being solid ground. So for us at Growing Hope, one of our values, our first value is about hope. Like, we believe that Jesus brings hope even in the most difficult situations. And that underpins everything that we do. I think, holding hope it's an interesting topic, because if you aren't someone of faith, you can kind of have hope. You can be hoping that something gets better. You can be kind of hoping for things to change. From our perspective as a charity, or like you're sharing, like this hope in Jesus is the kind of external thing that actually is unshakable and enables us to be able to keep going and to know that there is hope, and there is a great good news and a good end to the story. So could you tell us a bit about a story from Newfound Hope, of hope?
Yeah. I was just going to say that our hope is not just external, it's internal. All of our hope, that, Holy Spirit lives within us. And it's something that we can walk in every single day. And I think that, I need the Holy Spirit's guidance every single day when we're walking along this newfound hope journey. It's been quite a roller coaster, to be honest. We've been working on this for 5 years, and 3 years solidly on the innovation that we've developed, which is Aerlos, which are our trainers helping support natural heel first steps. So it originally started with my brother, who I love dearly, and it was in university where I discovered that he was walking on his tippy toes and he was breaking apart his trainers. And really the first instance of something where I was doing a project that wasn't for myself. I'd just come to know Jesus, and I realized that it wasn't about me. It was about other people. So I made this project to try and get to know my brother more. And that was the real hope in that scenario, was I want to restore this relationship with my brother, where I hadn't really spoken to him properly for longer than a sentence or two, even though we lived in the same household for over, a decade. So it was this amazing kind of culmination of, he had a problem, I was a product designer, and we were solving this problem together. And I was, measuring his feet every time, and I was making a custom fit shoe to help him to stop walking on his tippy toes. And we then kind of stumbled into the fact that there's 50 to 70 million tiptoeing kids around the world. And a lot of it can lead to, tight calf muscles, shortened Achilles tendon, instability, injury, and surgery if not corrected early. So the hope with the trainers is just to kind of get them early stage and to help them physically. But we've got this book and this character, Amazing Arlen, who's bringing this firm foundation from more of like a holistic and kind of spiritual perspective as well. We call it a firm foundation because the shoes are a physical firm foundation, but the Bible is a spiritual firm foundation. So I think it's been a journey that has taken me out of, the depths of depression, anxiety, all those things, and into like restoration of my family relationships, of my friendships, and also into this new kind of, not just career, but it's kind of like a life purpose.
Yeah.
Newfound hope.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing, Nathan. That's amazing to hear how the journey has really been a journey of hope for you in and of itself, like it to really see what God's been doing in and through you, but to find hope yourself, and then hope for your brother in terms of the shoe, and then hope for so many more families and children ahead, which is incredible.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about the trainer? Like, what does it do? Just for people who are totally new to it. So you've talked about kind of reducing tiptoe walking. So just tell us, for people who are like, what does that mean? What is Aerlos?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've designed this trainer that has a patent pending sole technology inside of it, which has a gently forward sloping sole, which is for heel first strike, and a subtly weighted heel, which helps with natural balance and alignment, and also a structure in the forefoot, which helps stabilize the toe and provide a firm foundation for everyday play. For these kids, it's about just grounding their heels so that they can, lengthen their muscles, because one of the problems is when you walk on the tippy toes, it shortens your muscles and they can become really tight and really painful over time. So we want to just get them while, they're developing, and make sure that they develop in a way that is good and it's heel to toe. It sounds really simple for a lot of people, but there's a lot of kids out there that don't walk from heel to toe. Myself and my brother were both toe walkers from an early age, and we were both bullied in school as well. So for both our neurodevelopmental differences and physical differences, because when you walk on your toes you bob up and down, so it's quite obvious. And we just want to basically take the kind of stigma away from this kind of stuff. And we don't want kids to be bullied. We want them to walk with confidence, stand taller, move with confidence, and walk one step stronger is our line.
Yeah, amazing. That's so good. I think for us, so as a charity, Growing Hope champions accessibility and provides free therapy for kids with additional needs in partnership with churches across the UK. So I'm an occupational therapist. I know that as an occupational therapist, when I'm in clinic at Growing Hope, I see a child for an assessment. I work with them for 6 weeks on things that might be challenging, 3 things that might be challenging, and help them. And for us, the hope that we see is often in that process of a family might come because they're not sleeping, and we get to work with that family. I had one amazing story where this little girl wasn't sleeping, and she was kind of, I think 11, 12-ish. I worked with her on some sleep strategies and gave her some ideas. She went away and they actually came back 2 weeks later, and the mum was like, I just can't believe it. Like, we're all sleeping. Like, she's put in place her routine. She's now sleeping. It's changed our lives. This is amazing. And I think there are so many small things that we can do, like as therapists or as people who are supporting children and young people, that can make such a shift to their day-to-day life, which is incredible. I know that I've worked with lots of toe walkers before, and particularly teenagers who are really struggling with that tightness and pain, who have like limited language and can't express their pain. That leads to quite high levels of frustration and challenges them with enabling them to do the exercises that will help reduce the pain. And so this is an amazing thing in terms of like that practical hope that we can give families in this moment where they really need it. And what do you often we have to be able to keep holding on to hope in the midst of challenge. But can you just, before we jump into that question, can you just tell us a bit about the vision for Aerlos and for Newfound Hope? Like, you've got your Kickstarter going. What can people be doing? How can they get involved? We will talk about that again later, but what's the vision for you guys in terms of enabling children and families to access this?
Yeah, well, the vision is that kids can feel like they're able to join in, have fun, and they can live a life without limits, basically. And that is the vision behind Newfound Hope. We have this mission statement, which is empowering kids of all abilities to spring forward with newfound hope in their souls. So it's both souls, SOLES, and SOULS.
Nice. Like what you've done there. It's very good.
Well, I think that we need both.
Yeah.
We need both because it's a physical solution, but also we believe that there's a firm foundation that's needed from both an emotional, mental, spiritual, and it's all these things that need to happen. I mean, when we're talking about kids with additional needs, that's really where my heart is. So I was trained as an autism practitioner, and I was trained to look after people with autism and also to understand their brain and what's going on there. I really did it partly to get to know my brother more and learn kind of how to help him in his day-to-day life. When it comes to Newfound Hope, a lot of it is trying to just be as kind of helpful and be as supportive as possible. I get parents on a daily basis talking to me about I've got this child with additional needs. We found nothing to help, and we found your shoes, and we believe that they could be of help, of use. And that really brings me hope inside, because it's people all the way from Sydney, Australia to America to, Nigeria to all sorts of places around the world, because we're doing a Kickstarter, which is international.
Yeah.
And we're not trying to limit basically who can get access to the Aerlos. And yeah, it's just amazing to see how many people are excited about this. And yeah, the Kickstarter, by the time you watch this, will probably either be over or it will be going, and we'll be selling these on our website and etc. But yeah, it's kind of a journey to try and empower these kids and these families with a solution, but also a message that brings people hope.
Can people choose to kind of contribute Aerlos to somebody who can't afford them?
Yes. So that's why we're doing our buy one, give one bundle with a Growing Hope. So Growing Hope is helping us to distribute some of these trainers. In effect, high-income families can help purchase Aerlos for low-income families, the kids that need them the most. And it's an amazing thing. We're so proud of that, because, as I said, a lot of the heart behind this is kids with additional needs. And we want to make sure that there's no barrier to entry. So, our Kickstarter is kind of removing the barrier to entry. It's massively discounted. And of course, that discount won't last forever, but it's something that we really care about. Families just getting them because they need them. And so the buy one give one bundle is something that I think is really just close to my heart, because it's we're done with you guys, an amazing charity that's, got the same heart as us. And I think it provides families that wouldn't normally get access to these trainers the ability to have that tangible hope in a solution, whether it's small or big, for people. It's something that is going to help people.
So good. Thanks, Nathan. And when we talk about additional needs at Growing Hope, we talk about additional needs being wide-ranging. So they could be learning needs, physical needs, mental health needs, undiagnosed needs, anything which is impacting on someone's participation in activity. So, I talked about sleep earlier. We see children who have challenges with their self-esteem, challenges with being able to write their name or sit at a table or get dressed or eat or communicate when they are upset or when they have a problem, and all of those things we get to provide therapy for, which is amazing. But all of those things also can be challenging in day-to-day life, like both for the children and young people themselves and also for their parents and carers. And there are also things in our own lives, like we all have our own experiences of things that can challenge us at different times. Can you tell us what you think it looks like to keep holding on to hope that's unswerving and wide-reaching in the midst of facing challenge?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that my most immediate thought is that my family's had to do this for a long time. My brother has autism and, we have neurodivergence in the family, and it is something that is an ever-present thing in our lives. And as you said, there's a wide-ranging scope of kind of like both autism and also other things that with lots of kids that have additional needs. And it's hard work, to be honest with you, to try and hold on to hope in the midst of difficult circumstances. And I think it can often feel like grieving, really, when we're having issues and we're not seeing solutions or we're not seeing resolution to that scenario. I think we have to keep trusting in God that He's going to help us through it. And sometimes if there's not a resolution to things, that we are just trusting God and leaning on God to keep us going in the midst of these trials and tribulations. It says in the Bible that we will face trials and tribulations, but we hope in God and that, He'll wipe every tear away. So despite any grieving we may face, God is there in the midst of it. And I think that's what we've got to remember when we're struggling and when we're, struggling to find hope. Struggling to hold on to positivity and to just trust that God has got a plan that is bigger than our plan. His ways are higher than our ways. And His thoughts are higher than our thoughts, and there is something that's going to come of good for it, for all the things, work together for the good of those who love God.
Yeah, amazing. Thanks, Nathan. And I think it's true, isn't it? Like if we can trust God, if we can put our hand in His hand, He can journey with us through all things. Like we talked earlier in this series with Rich and Lydia Di Castiglione about their experience and about experiencing pain and challenge and choosing to kind of give that to God in the midst of day-to-day life. And it's interesting you talk about grief. Like we look at the grief cycle as part of one of our courses called When Dreams Change, which is about what happens when our hopes and dreams change because of our children's needs. That grief cycle, for people who don't know, includes things like anger, denial, sadness, depression, bargaining, and before you come to a place of acceptance. And I think what's amazing, and I've learned a lot about in therapy and from a kind of therapy point of view, is actually we have these incredible brains. Like our body, we have all these core emotions that are part of our day-to-day life, and part of those core emotions are anger, sadness, emotions that sometimes we can have this kind of negative picture of. But I think part of what holding on to hope is about is actually, it's okay to experience all of the different emotions that we experience as humans, and part of it is what is our what's our direction in the midst of that. I think if we try and stop ourselves from feeling the things that we're feeling or experiencing things that are challenging in the sense of pushing them down or pushing them aside, we're not then able to hold on to the hope that we as Christians believe that Jesus brings. And for those of you who aren't Christians who are listening to this, like, I believe, Nathan believes that we have a God who does bring hope in the midst of those challenges. And I think, he's an amazing God who says to us, actually, like, come to me however you're feeling. Like, come to me if you're feeling sad, come to me if you're feeling angry, come to me if you're feeling worried, because he's able to give us hope in those places that are challenging. I hope that my hope is that some of the people listening might be able to experience more of that hope that God gives. And you've talked about this a little bit already, but we'd love to hear a bit more about God's faithfulness in your leadership journey, Nathan, as you set up Newfound Hope, and you've talked about a bit about how God's given you hope in the midst of that. But can you tell us a bit more about God's faithfulness throughout that journey?
Absolutely. The journey has been, as I said earlier, quite a long one. But God has really restored a lot of things in my life personally and has kept me going through the hard times of Newfound Hope as well. And I think I wouldn't be as grounded running up to launch right now as we're filming this as I am without God and without the kind of help that he's provided to Newfound Hope over the years. We've won, I think, in total about 9 awards, so 8 awards in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
God has really provided both like financially and also with people and all sorts of resources and all things that we've needed, really. So I think it's been an amazing journey to go on, with God. I think it's important that we don't leave God at the prayer. We take God with us because God is inside of us, like, his Holy Spirit's inside of us, and he says he'll never leave us or forsake us. So I've tried to just I try to involve God in most things. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes in running a company and launching a company, but I think it's just keeping God at the center has been a really important thing in my leadership journey. I think also staying level-headed when things go up and when things go down. But that can only happen if you're not invested in the sort of riches or the fame or the whatever it is or the outcomes. You're kind of invested and you're grounded and rooted in God, and that is unshakable, completely unshakable. Which when I was younger, I was super up and down with the tides. I feel like I'm on that secure foundation. I have definitely had my days where I'm not like that, but I feel like for the vast majority of the time, I'm having my daily reading of the Bible. I'm having my worship with my guitar, and go to the gym, go on my run, all kind of stuff. And I think it just sets you up, and you just need to keep God at the center of your life, because when everything else is changing and shifting, because in a startup it changes so fast, there has to be something that's consistent, as I say, God has provided for all of our needs, and we haven't had to worry, even though I am a bit of a worrier, so I have still worried. I shouldn't have worried because God has provided, so it's amazing to see like how God has taken us from I graduated uni 2-3 years ago now with an idea and no money, and now to be launching an international Kickstarter campaign,
it's incredible,
with a fully manufactured product and 1,000 trainers coming on Wednesday, so that's 2 days from now, when we're filming this. And I think it's just a testimony to God's goodness, really.
Yeah, that's so good. And I think I really am hearing you say, like, God is the one who's been that foundation and that anchor point for you in a way that you potentially didn't really realise before. And that's the faithfulness that you've seen as you've gone on this journey. And I think, again, like, similar for me, I'm a founder of Growing Hope, and the journey of setting something up is very up and down. And there are many challenges along the way, but actually being able to put faith and trust in God in the midst of that, for me and for Nathan as Christians, like, is the thing that can enable you to keep going. And I know that you guys have seen that through Newfound Hope, and we've definitely seen in Growing Hope God do amazing things at different points in the growth of us as a charity, with connections with people or funding, which, you know, for some people could be seen as coincidences, but I feel like a completely God stepping in at the times that we would love to, that we've needed help. So Nathan, tell us about how people can find out more. What could they do next as a result of listening to this podcast today?
I think we're a small startup and we need all the help we could get. So, you know, if you'd like to follow us on social media, it's Newfound Hope _. And if you want to, you know, order some Aerlos, it's newfoundhope.co.uk.
Great.
Ultimately, I think that we need more than a physical solution. We need an internal solution and something that is going to keep us stable throughout the difficult times, and something that we can hold on to, a hope that we can hold on to in the times where things don't look so Instagram worthy or, you know, postable. You know, not everything is an Instagram moments where we have to be looking perfect or be feeling perfect inside. I think embracing those moments and having a creator God that knows you intimately, that you can bring these things to. Because when I feel rough inside, I try and bring my imperfections to God in prayer. And I try and, you know, keep that as a consistent thing. You know, it's some people would call it therapy. I would call it an internal transformation, because God says that, you know, as we read his words, we'll be transformed by the renewing of our minds.
Yeah.
He puts a new heart inside of us.
Yeah.
So if you know Jesus, or if you don't know Jesus, get to know Jesus, because he will transform you on the inside and it will make you into a new creation. I think that is the most important thing in our lives to hold on to, is the hope of God, and both here and now, and Jesus coming back.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much, Nathan. Get to know Jesus. He is the one who points us to hope. It's been so great to chat to you. There are so many things there in terms of the practical hope that you guys bring through Aerlos, but also the hope that we've seen God give both of us in our journeys as founders, and in that process of setting something up and seeing how it runs. So we are so grateful for you coming on our podcast today, and we are cheering you guys on in all that you're doing through this Kickstarter and as you launch as a new organisation. But thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Naomi.
You have been listening to Holding Hope, a podcast series from Growing Hope. Growing Hope is a charity providing free therapy for children with additional needs and their families, in partnership with local churches. If you would like to give £10 today to Growing Hope, just message Growing Hope, all one word, to 70490. Please visit growinghope.org.uk for other ways to support the work.